Hello, folks, and welcome back to another episode of the Daily Crypto Byte. Today is Wednesday, December 8th, and we're getting some pretty interesting price action here today. Lots to talk about. Also, some pretty important news events. CJ, you just posted in chat. We've got a hearing coming up later today with some major crypto CEOs. That could definitely drive price as well. We're also seeing some other assets rip on some news-related events like Tezos. I want to share that chart and the news that's driving it. But before we dive into things, CJ, Dr. Bounce, how are you gentlemen doing on this fine Wednesday morning?
I'm good, Monty. I'm glad you mentioned Tezos too, because just looking around in that DeFi ecosystem yesterday after the big bump, and some interesting stuff going on there. So worthwhile to revisit, potentially in our members only broadcast after this, being the Doge of the day. But I'm doing well. John, it's good to see you. How are you, my friend?
Good to see both of you guys. I'm doing well. I'm down here at Blockchain Week in Puerto Rico. I'll be hosting or moderating a panel for Coin Agenda over at the Convention Center this afternoon. Crazy parties. That's why you see these bags under my eyes. Lots of good conversations. We went out in the harbor on a friend's boat and cruised around with some rappers. I don't even remember the guy's name, but he's got 3 million followers on Instagram. So he's the real deal. Yeah, I don't know if I've heard his music, but you guys may have heard his music. Not that I don't listen to rap, I do, but I'm not sure that I've heard his music. Nonetheless, great party. Also, one of the after parties last night, there had to be like 200 people in this relatively tight space. We went to the Immutable party for Immutable Holdings, Jordan Freed and his group. Fabulous. Love what they're doing. And that was an interesting party with it was well attended, but it was starting to break up at about 9 o'clock. And then, of course, we got to hit another after party. So we went over there to that, and I met a bunch of NFT people over there. Some guy told me a crazy story I'll share with you guys. We've all got stories about one that got away. Sometimes it's a girl, sometimes it's a guy, sometimes it's a stock, and you're like, God, why didn't I hold on to that one? And we've discussed that here on this show about how first time I bought Bitcoin, it was under $300. And I just traded it and said, done, I'm out, because I didn't really understand and I didn't have a huge belief in it like I do now. But one of those guys, who will go nameless, who's a fairly big guy in crypto, had been mining with a single mining machine, and he might have been one of the first 100 or 200 miners. So you guys can imagine he did fairly well. And one of the things that he did that he got a lot of was Ethereum. He ended up with 250,000 Ethereum. Now, as he told me, he said that he sold that 250,000 Ethereum for $250,000. In other words, $1 a piece. And I said, how many times do you think that instead of that $1, every time you see it print 4,400 or whatever, what do you think? And he said, I only think of that about 9 billion times a day, John. So most of you watching have not had a problem that big. But he's still okay, believe it or not. He's still okay. But it's tough to say, God, that 9 billion. It's kind of like that guy who was a partner with Steve Jobs when he first started Apple. And if he would have just held on to his stock instead of selling it out for literally a couple $1,000, he'd be worth $10 billion today.
There's a lot of stories like that. There was a third guy to the Charlie Munger Warren Buffett duo who just sold his stock way too early and didn't, see it through to the long haul.
Yep.
I think Warren kind of reflected on that and said, this particular individual, he was in a rush to get rich. Anyways, interesting news we got today. Right now, we have a couple big crypto CEOs testifying in front of the Senate. So hopefully that goes well. But overall, the CEOs that we do have, we have the CEO of Circle, Sam Bankman-Fried from FTX, Bitfury, the co-founder of Paxos Trust, CEO of Stellar Development Foundation, and the CFO of Coinbase. So this will be interesting. Nice to see that price is actually rallying going into it. Haven't really seen any unusual option activity in the Bitcoin miner stocks. Nobody's trying to make any, big bets in front of the hearing or so forth. So that's pretty interesting. But overall, I hope this goes a little bit better than the hearing with the CEO of Google and the congressman asking them, can Google see if I move here and then 10 feet over here? Yes, sir. That's how Google Maps works.
Yeah.
Yeah, those hearings aren't always super productive, but it's a pretty strong list. I mean, Sam Bankman-Fried, Jeremy Allaire, CEO of Paxos as well. There's some powerful people there. Hopefully they can make a good case for crypto going forward. We'll be watching that closely. And John, hopefully you'll be our boots on the ground there in Puerto Rico, get what the crypto maximalists are thinking of that hearing as well. It's happening right now. We will post a link to that hearing in the chat if you guys want to check that out. But moving on to some other news, CJ, we opened up the show kind of, hinting at that Tezos news. I was, thinking about mentioning it as my Doge of the day, but I just want to briefly mention it here. I think it's more due to kind of news-related events that are driving price here. And this is an interesting piece of news. Tezos partnered with Ubisoft, who makes some pretty popular games, including the Assassin's Creed franchises. CJ and I used to play those back in college when we were mining our Bitcoin.
Black Flag. Let us know in the comments if you've played Assassin's Creed Black Flag. That is a legendary game. Sorry, Monty, go ahead.
No, absolutely. Legendary game. And this is exciting stuff. Tezos will be their blockchain will be powering Ubisoft Quartz, which is going to be Ubisoft's native NFTs to their gaming ecosystem. And as a result, we saw Tezos really take off over the last 48 hours, as you can see here, making a very, very strong move, which it needed to get above that 20-period smooth moving average. And obviously that's on the back of this news that they will be powering these in-game NFTs for very popular game developer Ubisoft. So thought that was worth mentioning, just the latest NFT buzz that results in some price action. So interesting stuff there, and just thought it was worth bringing to your attention.
Absolutely. Thank you for that, Monty. Tezos is one of those that has been around in the space for quite some time. It's like that EOS type generation back in like 2016, 2017. They had initial problems with the founders and their CEOs initially, but ever since they've turned it around and built some really cool stuff and are building out their own DeFi ecosystem. What I'm most interested in is finding the next layer one to rise and join the ranks of Avalanche, Luna, and Solana. And Tezos is sitting down there at roughly 5 billion. Same with Phantom, same with Near Protocol. CKB is a little bit further down, underneath 1 billion. CeeLo is another one just sitting at 1 billion. And if you can catch one of those and ride it to catch up to, say, Avalanche or something like a Solana or even a Cardano at a $50 billion market cap, that's equivalent of a 10x or of a 15x without having to go per se, dumpster diving into the, hundreds of market cap coins. So that's always been an interesting question that I've been trying to answer each and every day. But Tezos is somewhat interesting.
Yeah, and to that point, CJ, another piece of news that is resulting in some price action for one of those, I think, an asset that fits the criteria of what you were just talking about. And we talked about this a little bit yesterday in our members only Doge of the day, but Matic or Polygon has been, looking very, very strong here. And I think a lot of that, and this is something that many members of our community have pointed out, is that there is a pretty important event coming up here. I believe it is tomorrow. Yep, tomorrow. Polygon ZK Day. So Vitalik Buterin, the creator of Ethereum, and some others will be coming on to talk about zero knowledge and what that means for Polygon, for Ethereum, for AVAX, for Solana, and for other layer ones, and for the entire crypto space in general. Yesterday, we talked a little bit about, Vitalik publishing an article called Endgame, in which he talked about kind of how to incentivize both, miners and validators. And I expect him to elaborate a little bit on this during this conversation here about zero knowledge proofs. And really, I think this could be a catalyst for positive price for Matic. It seems like it already has been. So, when you see this, you got to watch out for, a sort of buy the rumor, sell the news event. But when we zoom out and we look at, the more macro perspective of Matic, obviously this thing is, retesting previous all-time highs, breaking into, uncharted territory here above $2.50, looking very strong as we enter this ZK day tomorrow, December 9th, for the Matic Polygon blockchain. So I'll definitely be checking that out. I'm sure, many other members of our community that hold Matic will be checking that out as well. But we'll have to see how that affects price, whether it does end up to be, buy the rumor, sell the news event, or if the rally does continue tomorrow following ZK Day. We'll be watching that closely.
Well, if I could, I want to share one screenshot, guys. Let me see here. Share screen. All right. Let me see. Where is that? Here it is. There it was. Share. Boom, boom. There. You guys seeing that now?
Yep.
Tonight at 4 p.m. Eastern Time, those two characters are going to be talking about the 10 coins you should know now. And if you're watching this, the Daily Crypto Byte, it's a free hour-long webinar with Matt Montemayor and CJ. Make sure that you register, and you can do that over at Market Rebellion and join and see the exact, you'll get an email from the group that'll let you join that live stream 15 minutes before it begins, just as you see on the page there. So make sure you, if you want to know what those 10 coins are, make sure you check it out and join them at 4 p.m. right at the market close tonight.
Yeah, thank you for that, John. We are really looking forward to that. Yeah, like you said, it's going to be 10 coins, and we're going to go in depth into each one, starting with Bitcoin. And I want to take a look at some of, the possible red flags we saw leading up to this weekend's liquidation event, and perhaps some things we can look to going forward as a sign of, a potential incoming massive liquidation event. And then, like you said, we'll go over some other assets that we think that you guys should have on your radar here as we close the year. So that will be today, 3 p.m. Central, market close. Very excited about that. Hopefully we see you guys there. Just put a link in the chat for anyone that wants to join. Like John said, it is free to join. You can send that link to your friends or anyone you think might be interested in crypto. The more, the merrier. So yeah, that's all we got for today. But as always, we'll see you again tomorrow. We'll be in the crypto room hanging out. If you guys want to join us there, you try it at marketrebellion.com/try crypto. We got a pro charting service, 24/7 chat where traders share their insights from around the world. We have a ever-growing education curriculum. CJ, I know you just published a new course on yield farming. The audience has been loving that. So we're going to keep that content coming. You can talk more about that right now if you want to.
Yeah, I had a lot of fun putting it together because the way that the Terra ecosystem and the Anchor protocol have been built out is just so beautiful for its users. And, even if you're not going to put, a lot of money into it, you can do it with $20 or $15 just to test the protocols from a user perspective. And I think that there's a whole separate thing from just listening to YouTube videos, listen to gentlemen like us talk about DeFi or try to read about DeFi. It's a completely different thing to dive into the ecosystem and to do it yourself and have that boots on the ground fundamental research. For me, it was a game changer, and I think for you it will be too. So make sure you check out that course if you haven't already, because I think it'll really open your eyes to the innovation of what DeFi has truly brought us and the unbanked folks of the world as well. But yeah, appreciate that. Hope you guys have a great day in the world wherever you're at. But take care.
Thank you.
Take care, everyone. We'll see you guys at 3 o'clock.